Welcome back to RGR Football. I'm Ryan. This is me going rogue on your Kansas City Chiefs and the NFL. And today that applies because we're doing another rumor video. And this is because I get a ton of questions, both on my Twitter feed. And if you haven't followed that yet, it's Ryan Tracy NFL on Twitter. All my content is over there. And if you want to ask questions, that's the easiest way to get with me. The comments here on the channel are the next best way. And I get a lot of questions on both about a lot of these rumors. And there are several channels on the YouTube platform that are just blatantly clickbaiting, promoting all this rumor nonsense. And I'm here to smash those rumors and tell you why they don't work. If you missed one the other week, the one time that a rumor actually had a thread of truth was about Jamal Adams. I'll tag that up here in the show notes, and you can click up in the corner if you want to go check that one out later in the video. Now, if you are new to the channel and just found us, make sure you hit the sub and the like button and click that bell notification so you know what happens. But also check Monday nights out, because Monday nights are when I do a live Q&A. The stream is an hour long and we cover every aspect of the Kansas City Chiefs and a lot of questions around the NFL. So don't miss that. Now, I want to start today because PM15 is the top of every list, and there's a lot of questions about this contract that is coming eventually. I don't expect it to be very soon, but the latest rumor is that Patrick Mahomes people are pushing the Chiefs to sign to a percentage deal, but the rumor is completely false. The Chiefs representation back and forth with Patrick's people is not pushing any kind of percentage at this point. And quite frankly, it would not be in anybody's best interest right now because nobody knows what the salary cap is going to be. This 2020 season is going to go a long way in determining the revenue for what the salary cap will be going forward. If there is a huge shortfall, you're going to see the total salary cap fall. And so from a Chiefs perspective, it would not do them very good to agree to paying out, say, 16, 18% that you've seen not only the talking heads on some of the cable channels, as well as a lot of quote unquote prognosticators here on the platform. It just wouldn't make sense to agreeing to something that you don't know if you're going to have the revenue to cover if you're the Kansas City Chiefs. And if you're Patrick's people, and there's a lot that his agents go into figuring out right now. The fifth-year tag is going to pay him $25 million. There's a chance, if there is a significant shortcome in the revenue for next year, that even if he took a 16, 18, even a 20%, quote unquote, 20% of the cap as a salary, that could come in underneath his fifth-year number if the shortfall is as big as a lot of insiders are concerned about. This prospect of not having fans in seats is a very difficult one in terms of what it gives you for your revenue flow, not only for the league itself, but for the individual teams, because they have to come up with those numbers. And once you sign that contract, you are locked in. You are bound by it until you get to one of the spots that is in every contract where either the team or the player can choose to part ways, can either negate the rest of the contract or can do something to buy out a clause. That is always built in there. But until then, it just makes very little sense to try and do a blockbuster new type of deal when there's so much question about where that revenue is coming from and how much is it going to be. So you have to remember, when people talk about these rumors, they're interesting concepts. Some of them come from personal opinion from lawyers who think they're football analysts, and it just doesn't carry any weight. So take everything with a grain of salt. This one in particular that supposedly Patrick's representatives are quote unquote pushing for a percentage deal is just not true. It may end up happening down the line. I actually think that this contract will not get done until next offseason. And by then, hopefully you would have seen the projections from how many seats were filled this season and what that gives you in terms of a projected cap at the very least going into 2021 when you want to try to get this particular deal done. That will also have an effect and be affected by whatever happens with Chris Jones, another situation that we're going to have to wait on and see what comes. Another very popular rumor that has raised its head once again after the debacle at the trade deadline last season, which in the end, worked out pretty well in getting a Super Bowl championship. The prospect of trying to trade with Arizona in order to acquire Patrick Peterson has come back up again. And the two channels that I've seen that are really pushing this idea are ones that are really looking for you to click on them. This is not based in reality. Quite frankly, the Cardinals can't really absorb much more contract, and they don't want to give up who is a guy that they got to come back. They got him happy, and Patrick Peterson is now the centerpiece of at least their secondary, one that has some very young players that need some tutelage to come along, need some example. I think they are a team that has some good talent back there, but they definitely don't want to part with Patrick Peterson right now. And the idea of the Chiefs playing a blockbuster player for him is just kind of out there because it isn't something that this administration, Brett Veach and Andy Reid, have any interest in doing. Their concept right now is to bolster the offense, period. The defense will come along. They'll play with scheme. They'll play undermanned in terms of talent, particularly in the secondary, because they feel that they have good safety coverage, which might even get better. There's a number of ways that they can do that. And going into the second year of Steve Spagnuolo's defense, trading for Patrick Peterson is a cost that they just can't get, especially when you're talking about trading someone young at 26 years old for somebody who's going to be at the very tail end of their career here in the next 2 to 3 seasons. I like Patrick Peterson. I thought he was great if he was going to leave Arizona last year at the trade deadline. I thought it was a great thing for the Chiefs to try to pick him up. It didn't work out, and that's perfectly fine. It's not going to happen now. And despite what anybody tries to give you clickbait titles on YouTube or articles on X site that I'm not going to name, the truth is Patrick Peterson is not going to be a Chief, and it's going to work out just fine. The idea is get younger and get talent that you can turn into a potential Patrick Peterson. I don't know that the Chiefs have that yet. Eventually, I think that will become the focus for them in drafts to come. But the interesting thing is 2 of the players that are mentioned in these rumors are trading Frank Clark for Patrick Peterson, which is silly at this point. But the other one is Damien Williams, the guy that was in the running for the MVP of the Super Bowl. The big thing here is that the Chiefs had a lot of attrition, and Brett Veach talked about attrition specifically this offseason and how it was a challenge. They don't want to get rid of running back talent, even with a new guy in town. And that brings me to the other big question mark. And someone on NFL.com or NFL Network made a comment about how you don't draft a running back in the first round and let him sit. Well, actually, you do. The Chiefs want to. They want to work Clyde Edwards-Helaire in and share duties. There isn't any reason to believe at this point that they're going to instantly make Clyde Edwards-Helaire their starter and trade Damien Williams. It just doesn't fit the Andy Reid mold. Andy wants to run a committee. He wants to have guys that work in and work out because the running back position takes quite a pounding in the NFL. This isn't the college game anymore. You have to have multiple running backs that can do their job and get you yards, not only between the tackles in the run game, but most importantly, in the passing game. Having multiple players of that skill set is exactly what Andy Reid's looking for. Now, eventually, say 2021, I do believe you're going to see Clyde Edwards-Helaire as the starter. Again, they will backfill some talent behind him to give him some rest and not put the entire load on any one back. Andy Reid does not want to do that. He has never wanted to do that. And you can't just ignore it because it looks like a good headline. That's another rumor that needs to be smashed to oblivion because it just isn't going to happen. Now, the last one, and I think this is funny that it keeps coming up, and I don't think it's just being generated in Florida. I think there's some folks in Texas that are trying to bring this one up. The Chiefs are not going to trade for Josh Rosen. It's not going to happen, folks. It would be a serious misuse of resources if they did. And the fact is, the Chiefs are happy with the room that they have. They have talent that they can try to bring up into Amu, who replaced Shermer, who they thought had talent as well. And they have a veteran quarterback to back up Patrick Mahomes, which in the end is all that you need. The story is about giving Patrick what he needs in terms of better blocking and keeping all the weapons that he's had, adding a few more in the running back position and trying to get creative with what Andy Reid does best in dialing up plays to take advantage of what defenses are trying to do in adjusting to him. We've seen the changes in speed across the league over this offseason, and a lot of that is aimed specifically at PM15. That's not going to be the end of the story, but that's what it's going to be for today. So if you like this one, make sure you hit that thumbs up, get subbed right now, and click that bell notification. I appreciate your time. We're going to have more film review for you tomorrow, and Dan will be back on Thursday. Thanks for watching this one, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more, and subscribe to RGR Football.